This video is about the garment module or our variation module. The variation module allows you to take an item and break it down into segments. Those segments are defined by how many characters you're going to allow for a segment and how much of the description you're going to use to define that segment. So what we're defining right now is going to be some shoes. So the way it works is it links to the product line. So in the inventory module, if you go to maintain files and you choose your product line entry, once you create a product line, you're going to see some extra tabs on here. So the extra tabs are going to be the inventory segment setup. This is what is going to define for this specific product line how much of the item number gets used for the style, the color, the size, the gender. It also defines how many characters in the 40 space description field is going to define the item. This is linked directly to the item segment system, which is right here. So once you're in the item segment system, the first thing you need to do is define. You have to kind of do this simultaneously. When you set up a new product line. When you set up a new product line, you also have to at the same time set up the segment definitions. And that's done through the IX module or item segment inventory module and then the segment code entry. So once you set up the code, you will see this has several segments to it. So if I click over here to the segment, you'll see that I've defined if I brought up the right one, it would probably do that. You'll see here how I've defined separate segments. This is the main segment. Every item number has to have a main segment. And generally I identify the main segment as the style number. So at the same time, over here, I would have to set up a main segment. And part of that is, if I pull this up right here, it automatically lets me choose what my description is going to be, that this is going to be the style, how many characters in the item number am I going to allocate for this segment. So for instance, if you have a style that is, in this case, 973, but we have 7 digits we need to use, we would enter that style as a 000973. The idea behind the software is to stay as consistent as possible. Then it tells me how many digits am I going to use in my description. Before you set this all up, you need to do some serious planning. You need to decide what part of your description is the most important aspect. Is it the color? Is it the size? Is it the gender? Is it the style number? Is it the manufacturer? In this case, we decided the color is the most important. So we're going to allocate the most number of characters of the description to the color segment. So this tells me that this is not a very important segment. This is a minor segment, so we're only going to do 7 digits. However, right down here it says create main segment code. That is critical when you set up a new product line, that you identify this is the main segment code, because without that then the garment module won't work, or the variation module. So with that in mind, you set up all of you define all of your segments like we have here. The second section of this is, now that we've got our mapping set up, now we can build our tables. Okay? The idea behind the software is, let's say for instance you have 14 different manufacturers that you use. You have 7,000 different style numbers. Those style numbers come in 18 different colors, 22 different sizes, 6 different genders. Well, in any system that doesn't have this module, you would have to take that and exponentially re-enter an item number for every single variation. For every style, where the gender is different, where the color is different, where the size is different, where the style number is different, you would have to enter. It would take you weeks. This system allows you to build tables. These are all the styles I use. These are all the genders I have. These are all the manufacturers I have. These are all the sizes anything is ever available in. And what happens next is, let's say you have to set up a style. You get style number 973 in. Well, at that point, you go in to say, create the style, and the table comes up, and you say, I'm going to take style number 973, and it comes in 3 genders, it comes in 12 sizes, it comes in 6 colors, it comes in 4 whatever else we had for an identifier, brands. And the system would then instantly create the whole inventory segment for you. You don't have to hand type it. That's the concept behind it. So, I didn't want that to pop up. Okay, so with that, without further ado, we were in the middle of setting up, how do you set up the segments itself? So you come over here and you tell it that you're going to go to maintain files in the item segment definition, and we're going to go to create the segment entries. So as you can see, if I go over here and I pick my main athletics section, you can see that I've already created 2 different style numbers. Any questions? Okay, we'll go to the next segment. I'll hit clear on this, clear this out. Let's go to the next thing. We're going to go to the brands. And again, you can see that I created about 5 or 6 brands. The next segment is our gender. And we're going to look at that, and there's our genders. And the final segment that we're doing right now is our style. Our size. Now, for color, because we're going to use the NRF color guidelines, I'm going to import that for you. But otherwise, you would have to create it the same way we're going to create one of these next sizes. So as you can see, I've created a few of the sizes, and I left off at size 6.5. So now I'm going to go and create the next style, which is 7. And because we allocated 3 characters for that, we're going to put 070, and it's 7.5. Now you'll notice that there's, I made a mistake, 7.0. Now you'll notice there's an upcharge area. The upcharge area is if you sell something that comes in a size 13, for instance, and you charge an extra $1 every time the customer buys that size 13, you would put $1 in there, and the system would automatically add that $1 to that item when it puts the order in. Okay, and we don't have that case right now. So we're going to continue creating a new style. We hit clear, we hit our next color, which our next size is 075, which is 7.5. And I'm going to pause the video now while I continue to do data entry because we don't need to be watching that.